Hey everybody, Tony Beers here. Now, I didn't feel like filming myself, so you're just gonna have to look at pictures here. So you don't have to look at my ugly mug the whole time. Here's a picture of me with my girlfriend, adult entertainer, Adara Michaels. Nah, I'm just kidding. She's not my girlfriend. She's my wife. Anyway, this is my top 5 best and worst movies of 2009. I know, it's kind of late, but I thought I'd get this list out here before the end of 2010. Now, before I start this list, keep in mind that I didn't see many of the movies this year. The ones that I have seen weren't very good. I live in a small town in Ohio, so I don't get a chance to see as many movies or have enough money to spend to see as many movies as I want to, so keep that in mind when you're hearing my list here. Okay, number 5, Sherlock Holmes. Now, this wasn't a really awesome movie, but keep in mind, I didn't see that many movies this year. It's a barely 20 or... Yeah, this is a pretty good movie. It's got a lot of good action, a lot of good humor. It's a very smart movie, and it's really good. So you can check out my review to see my whole opinion on this movie, but Sherlock Holmes, number 5. Okay, number 4 is Zombieland. I really like this movie. Again, you can check my other videos to see my whole review of this. Just like Sherlock Holmes, it has a lot of action and a lot of humor in it. It's actually probably one of the funniest movies I've seen this year. And in my review, I said it is probably the most fun I had at a theater. This movie is fun to watch. It's fun to watch with an audience. And when I seen this movie, the whole audience loved it. They laughed and they cringed at the gore. And it was just a fun experience. So that's why it's number 4. Now, for these top 3, anyone could have made my top number 1 movie of the year. Of course, only one could make it. And in the end, what it came down to is what movie I would like to watch over and over again, which is the most fun to watch. Number 3, Inglourious Basterds. Now, this is probably the best acted movie I've seen this year. The guy who played the Jew Hunter, if he doesn't get some kind of award, something's wrong. He's just amazing in this movie. It's probably the best dialogue in all the movies I've seen this year, and it's very tense, keeps you at the edge of your seat, and it's also actually very funny. Can't believe how funny this movie was. It's really a dark comedy. So yeah, I can't really say enough good things about it, but the reason it's number 3 and not number 1 is because some of the dialogue scenes get boring at times, and it's not a movie that I want to watch the whole movie over and over again. It gets depressing in some parts. It's the type of movie that I would watch and then I'd fast forward the slow parts just so I can get to the good parts. Brad Pitt, he's very funny in this, and the Bastards, and some of the real good action scenes, some of the blood and gore. It's very satisfying to see Hitler get a million bullets stuck in his body. It's not number 1, it's number 3, but it's an awesome movie. You haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. Okay, number 2 on my list is Star Trek. Well, like I said before, the reason that it's above Inglourious Basterds is because it's just very fun to watch. This movie is just my kind of movie. It's a science fiction, it's action, it's funny, it's a comedy, it's funny sometimes, and it looks amazing. The acting is good in this movie. The direction is good. It's just good all around. There's nothing bad that I can say about this movie. Like I said, it comes back to rewatchability. This movie I could watch a million times over and I would still love it. I can't say the same for the rest of the movies on this list, but this movie I just can watch over and over again. Okay, number 1 on my list. Now, what do you think can be number 1? What could beat out Star Trek? What could beat out Inglourious Basterds? What can beat out Zombieland? Now, this movie, I loved it. It's also very underrated. I don't think it got the praise it should. The acting is amazing in this movie. They're very good actors. Some people don't like a certain female in this movie, but I thought she was okay. It's an adaptation from a book. It's the perfect adaptation. It's very faithful to the book. The ending was changed, but if I was the director, I would have changed the ending as well. There's nothing that I would have done different in this movie. There's nothing that I think can be changed to make it any better. It's just an awesome movie, and again, it comes back to rewatchability. I could watch this movie over and over again. There's nothing bad about this movie. It's visually, it's amazing. The story is, of course, amazing because it's based on this book. The action scenes are amazing, and this movie, it won't win any Oscars, which is too bad because I really think it's the best movie of 2009. Okay, it's time to stop guessing. Here it is, the #1 movie of 2009, in my opinion. A great action movie based on a great book, Twilight New Moon. No, I'm just kidding. Watchmen. This is the best movie of 2009. I don't care what anyone says, it's the best. Okay, now for the top 5 worst, and this means 5 is actually the best of the worst, and number 1 would be the worst of the worst, if that makes any sense. Okay, number 5, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Okay, this is at the top of my worst list because I was entertained when I seen this movie. Action scenes are great, special effects are great, pretty much everything else is bad, but you know, those stuff were amazing. Some people might put this at their number 1 worst, but I was actually entertained at this. Number 4, Crank 2. Some people actually put this movie at their top of their list of their favorite movies of 2009. I did not like it. I really don't see why some people actually like this movie. I didn't see the appeal at all. It was just too out there, too crazy. The main character is on fire at the end of the movie, and then he flips the bird to the audience. That's how I felt about this movie, that this movie is just flipping the bird to its audience. I waited this whole movie for him to get his heart back and to see him live, and then he gets set on fire at the very end of the movie, and it just ends. So it's like, what's the point of this movie at all if it's gonna end like that? It's a terrible ending. I hated it. Does that mean that they're gonna make a third one? If they are, I'm not gonna see it. This guy should just die already. You know, he supposedly died in the first one, and then they brought him back, and this movie is just plain ridiculous. That's the best way to describe it. Okay, number 3 of the worst movies of 2009 is Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. Now, this movie just should not have been made. I love Street Fighter. It's one of my more favorite video games, and I can see what they're going for here. They were trying to make a better movie than the original Street Fighter movie, which I don't know. I think it actually might be better, even though it's on my worst of list. It's just the special effects suck. The acting is not great. The story is terrible. It's just bad. The fight scenes aren't that great. It looks like the movie was made for no money. Like it looks very cheaply made. If you're not gonna have the money to do what you want in a movie, to make it as good as you can, then don't even make it, you know, and that's what I feel about Street Fighter: Legend of Chun-Li. Number 2, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Okay, Wolverine is one of my favorite comic book characters ever, and it's so sad to see him treated like this. The worst thing you could do to a character in a movie is to change it so much that you don't even recognize the character anymore. No, I'm not talking about Wolverine, I'm actually talking about Deadpool, who they changed so much it was ridiculous. I also don't like that they throw in these Blob and Gambit just for the fans, just so the fans would shut up and say, hey, they're finally in a movie. Okay, number 1 for the very worst movie of 2009. Just like I said with X-Men Origins Wolverine, I hate when they change characters just to fit a movie. And I hate it when they make a movie just to cash in on a name. That's what they did here with G.I. Joe. Someone said, Transformers movie was so successful, let's make a G.I. Joe movie. They just spit this movie out. Changed the characters so much, it's really ridiculous. That's what I hate the most about this movie, is that they changed almost everything about these characters that made them good. This is just an awful movie. The action is not that great. The special effects are kind of bad. And I hate Stephen Sommers. He's my nemesis. You know, some people say that Uwe Boll or Michael Bay is the worst director around. No, Stephen Sommers, worst director by far. That's on my list, and I'll see you next time.